Welcome back. We continue to talk to all four Republican candidates running for governor in Tuesday's primary election. Here now is former Franklin Township Mayor Brian Levine. Sir, thank you so much for spending time with us today. As we do when we interview a candidate for the first time, we give them the opportunity to tell the voters and our viewers a little bit about themselves. So go ahead.
Thanks, Larry. I'm really honored to be here. I truly am. So I have my degrees, a BA and an MBA from good old Rutgers, which shows I'm a Jersey guy. And I'm a CPA by profession, which is, I guess that's why I'm so concentrating on the finances when I've been mayor in Franklin Township, Somerset County, where I won 3 times in about a 3-to-1 Democratic town over Republicans, and a town of about 70,000. And then twice as a Somerset County freeholder, now called a county commissioner, and a freeholder director. And my concentration has always been fiscal because that's my background, but also for the people. The town I come from, it's very diverse. The minority population is larger than the state, and I've still been able to win there.
Thank you. Why did you get in this race? It seems like you may have gotten in a little late. Is that the case?
Yeah, a little bit, because it was this year and other people have been running for years. But after my time as freeholder, which ended the end of last year, I said, something's got to be done. I've known for years the state, in the best of times, is broke. And now, coming out of a bad time, a pandemic, the state's destitute, almost on life support. I've known this for years. So I'm the only one in this race who's had municipal executive experience, being a mayor, and corporate executive experience. I was director of financial planning for a Fortune 500 corporation where I did the budgeting and planning on almost $1 billion budget. I've delivered dozens of webinars and seminars on taxes and budgeting and accounting and finance. So what the state needs is something strong and to move to get us back in shape. And the ancillary things such as, why are lines wrapped around division of motor vehicles and people have to go crazy just to get a little bit done? It's just lack of planning. It's kicking the can down the road. And frankly, it's irresponsibility. And I'm the grown-up in the room who can get things done.
You say you're the grown-up in the room. That doesn't speak well of your opponents. Jack Ciattarelli and Hirsch Singh are currently at the top, and then Phil Rizzo as well. You don't see any of those qualities that you're talking about with yourself in any of them?
Well, they don't have the executive experience or the corporate Fortune 500 experience. And I'm just again, I've done it there. I've done it in my accounting practice. I've done it as mayor and as freeholder. Just go and get things done.
But you don't, do you think the state would be in bad hands if one of them were to win?
No, I'm not going to say that. They have their heart in it and they want to do well. And I don't view them as people who can't rise to the occasion.
It is interesting to me that this rise of Hirsch Singh in the race, and it seems to me that it's a wake-up call for the rest of the country. Many years, the New Jersey's been a bellwether about what's going to happen in the next year election, since we have an off-year election. And it seems to me it's all about Trump, that the Republican Party is divided over Donald Trump. First of all, do you agree with that? And then, of course, the question: where do you stand on Donald Trump?
Answer: yes. They're divided on Donald Trump. That's in the country in general, and even a bit within the Republican Party. So my personal view, I like some of the policies. I mean, fiscally, before the pandemic, we were doing pretty well. His style is not my style. I'm more of, when I was mayor, freeholder director, when there was an issue, I would bring the parties together, try and come up with a solution. Now, that all being said, on this race, as far as I'm concerned, it's not about anyone or any place really except New Jersey. If people like Donald Trump or they dislike him, I'm just trying to fix New Jersey. That's really my concentration.
No, I get that. And I think every candidate would say that, but certainly he is having an effect, or the ghost of Donald Trump after he's left office is certainly having an effect on this race. You can't avoid that, can you?
No, and as I said, it's like almost anyone else in the world. I agree with some things and I don't agree with some things. Again, repeating myself, his style is not my style.
Got it. Okay. You don't have
But
to repeat yourself. We got it. I just wanted to make certain that you weren't just denying he has an effect, and your stance on Donald Trump
no,
is going to have an effect on your candidacy.
love him or dislike him, he definitely has an effect.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some specifics.
Okay.
You talk about the finances specifically. What do you see as the key issue? Like, what would you go after? Is it pension reform? Is it the school formula? Is it all of the above? And how would you handle it?
It would be first common sense budgeting, not kicking the can down the road, like the 30 plus $billion pension debt. That's ridiculous. That never should have happened in the first place. We have to tackle that. The school funding formula, definitely. And as far as specifics on the budgets, again, I've lectured on it. I've dealt with clients as a CPA. As mayor, I left with, I think we had the highest surplus in the state, just because it was strong. I would save for a rainy day, and I wouldn't squander all the money just because it was sitting in the bank account. And as a freeholder, we maintained our AAA bond rating. So other things, I would encourage school districts to consider sharing more services. And here's how. I think, frankly, we need more money in the classroom for teachers and for paraprofessionals. But New Jersey is virtually unique. In every town, Franklin, North Brunswick, Pennsauken, Cape May, Patterson, everyone's got a superintendent making $200,000. And they all have a whole bunch of people working with them, which adding up their salaries is millions of dollars. In other states, they do that by county or some kind of region. I think there's no reason for that continued duplication on the administrative level. I would like to take some of that money, again, put it in the classroom for our kids. There's no other model like that. I think it's because of New Jersey's home rule. So I would give an incentive for towns to start sharing that and boards of education.
I think you'll find an immediate friend in Senate President Steve Sweeney, who's been talking about the exact same thing for some time. The Governor Murphy had several executive orders, and one that's getting the most attention now because he's willing to give up emergency powers at the end of this month, but he wants some of his executive orders codified, including Executive Order 175 that would require masks in the classrooms until December 30th of this year. Would you go along with that or try to get rid of that?
I would not go along with it because I think the science doesn't back it up. And kids in non-public schools have been in the classroom for the most part, parochial and private schools. Through last year, they're no more unhealthy than anyone else. Kids are resilient. And here's the thing, I'm an accountant, a finance guy by background, but I know as a kid, mother and father would say, go out and play, go in the dirt, and we build up an immune system. I fear for kids who are not building an immune system. I think they might be susceptible to other things. So unless there's a reason to, or parents want to, for their child, I wouldn't mandate.
You'd have the option. You'd have the option to wear it if you want to, but there's no mandate.
Unless the science proves me wrong, I wouldn't do that, no.
Well, we're just about out of time, but I did want to give you an opportunity, since this is going to air the weekend before the election, to just speak to the voters and make one last pitch.
Okay. I've always been a New Jersey guy, born and bred here. My daughters are here. I have my business here. What I want to do is help the state. I've done that as a town, as mayor, as freeholder, as a businessman, as a corporate executive. I want to bring the fiscal sanity to the state. Things like, as I understand, some of the state's computers are running on Windows XP. I mean, everything is so put off. It's so not, it is so not being considered for the present. Everything is being kicked down the road to the next guy. And frankly, I hate the hypocrisy. I hate the irresponsibility. Again, when I was in charge as mayor, great fiscal process. I even had more affordable housing than we needed because we could do it because that was the right thing to do. I had residents who were hurting. And I wasn't a mayor who governed from on high. I would get out. I would speak to people when there was crime. I would speak to the victims firsthand. And when there was incidences, I said, I brought together myself as mayor, council, board of ed, the administration, the religious community, the activists, the police, and we would sit together and come up with solutions. That's me.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure is all mine, believe me.
Republican gubernatorial candidate Brian Levine. Up next.
I'm Phil Andrews, and coming up on Jersey Matters, we'll talk about a situation that might affect how you get served here at the shore this summer.